is like we talked about last week when we're talking about wrapping up your 3M journey. Like people think that they're so alone, right? When they sort of have these thoughts about like, I don't feel good. Can I feel better? What do I do? And so for you to take the time and share, how you felt, what you did about it, and how you feel now is huge. So I really, really appreciate it. So guys, this is our 3M client, Beth. So give everyone like a bit of like who, what, where. Like who are you? What do you do? And
All right.
I'm gonna cut you off after like the 15th millionth thing. I'll be like, okay, done.
Great. Okay. So I guess I'll start like, I'm 46. That's kind of been an issue, not an issue, but a part of my journey.
Yeah,
Kind of what led me to 3M, I think.
yeah.
Um, I am a physical therapist in a very busy clinic, outpatient clinic, and my work life is extremely demanding. I have very little flexibility, which makes meal planning and nutrition pairing, as I've learned,
Yeah.
not so easy.
Mhm.
I also have three very active kids, 16, 14, and 10. I'm married. I have a husband that I also live with and co-parent with, and all
Yeah.
of those other things that go along with that. So yeah, I guess that's
Yeah. All the
it.
hats, right? Like
Yeah,
all the hats. And when Beth says that her schedule is solid, like it is solid, right? And I think that was like we said, that was the biggest thing. We're like, okay, we can't do a 180 here with lifestyle. We just need
right.
to figure out what's going to work. So talk to us about where you were before. Like why were you seeking a solution? Like what was going on? How are you feeling?
So, I think I wanted to lose like what we call the fluff, right?
Yes.
And that was, I mean, that's my main goal. I feel strong. I
Yep.
think with my job I have to stay strong, but there was this extra little layer of insulation that I wasn't liking. Um and so things I had done in my past, in my younger years, like just kind of eating in moderation and upping the exercise, was not helping. And in fact, I
Mhm.
felt like it was making it worse. Like I
Mhm.
I was gaining weight even though I was trying to, you know, um, to lose it. And
Yeah,
so, sorry, I lost you.
that's okay. No, but I remember
Okay.
you saying that. You're like, we have a spin bike. I do carve out time for resistance training, working out, getting on my spin
Right.
bike because I do like it, right? It's
Right.
my
Yep.
time, but I am literally getting bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Um, so yeah, I think that I'm sure something in my social media feed led me to you.
Yeah.
And you started popping up a little bit more and more on my Facebook. And I was like, okay, let's go down this road and see what she has to say.
Nice. And what stood out for you the most, do you think?
Um, I think just, I did, like I think one of the kind of challenges, like the 5-day challenge, and
Hmm.
listen to you
Yep.
and realize that you came from such like a scientific background, and that's my background. So like
Hmm.
I believe the science, right? And I think the other thing too is that I really like connected with you, even though I never met you. Like I
Yep.
just felt like, okay, she gets it, and
Hmm.
you're not 22 years old trying to tell me about what my 46-year-old body is doing.
Hmm.
Um, and also too, like you were just very real. Like I hope you take that as a compliment. And
Totally.
very relatable, like, we're watching different videos with you, and your life gets interrupted just like my life gets interrupted.
Yep.
Your kid comes in, we're in the middle of a pandemic, you just kind of rolled with it. And I think
Yeah.
that was a big part for me. Like you said, I can't make this huge lifestyle change. Every moment of my day is very filled up until about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So I
Yep.
had to find something or someone who understood that
Yep.
and who could help me kind of just fill in where I could fill in.
Yes. And where you put yourself here,
Right.
right? Right? And
Right.
not just
Right.
stay on the hamster wheel. So what did you try before? I can't remember. I know we talked about this.
I mean, I think the most, structured thing that I tried was Weight Watchers,
Mhm.
which again I think gave me some like flexibility in what I chose to eat,
Yep.
but I guess I never really bought into like the why, or the background of it. They don't really
Yeah.
give like the background. Like I need to understand like everything that's going to happen and understand it so that I can like apply it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Apply that kind of knowledge. And so, it would work for like 2 months and then I'd be like, this is not working for me. You just kind of fall back into your old habits and your old ways.
Hmm.
Um, and then I thought, okay, well, I should know enough about this stuff. Like, and so then I would try to do like, just kind of journaling, like the My Fitness Pal kind of apps and
Hmm.
those things. And again, it might be good for about 6 to 8 weeks and then, fall back into my regular habits again.
Yeah. Did you have any hesitations with coaching? Because sometimes it's hard when you're in like the health and wellness space to be like you just said, like, I just kind of figure this out on my own. Like, I have the knowledge, I'm active, like, I should be able to figure this out. Did you
I
have
think
any
that
other hesitations?
I think that I think the only hesitation that I really had was that I just didn't want to fail again.
Yeah.
I think I had felt like I had failed all these other tries because I still had this extra fluff around, my midsection that I hated.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh gosh, do I go through this all over again? But I think like the personalization, and like meeting with you and, you don't have thousands of people on the program at once and things like that.
Mhm.
And honestly, I know it kind of sounds cheesy, but I just connected with what you were saying. And
Mhm.
so maybe it's not really cheesy, but you know,
It made
it,
sense to
it was
you.
more of a personal connection,
Yeah.
right? It made sense. And I think the other thing was there was like a bit of a personal connection. We were very relatable to each other. And
Yes.
so that, I think that kind of said, all right, let's try this and see what happens.
Right. And I think the biggest thing with you was that you were opening to learning. Like, you're like, I don't want to just follow something. I don't want to
Right.
just give me a meal plan or whatever. Like, I know I can do that because I'm a doer. I'm a go-getter. Like you said, like, I'm booked to the nines. Like, my calendar is,
Right.
but I want to, like, Moni, teach me why, right? Like, why is this going on? And then I get the how behind it
Mm-hmm.
and realizing that it is such a journey, right? And everybody's journey is different. And it's going to
Right.
be seasons of life in that journey. And you learning the skills and being open to coaching, which I applaud you for, because some women aren't, right? And there's no fault to that. Like, if you just want the meal plan and go at it, I get it. But the other part, women just like, I want to learn so that when I don't have you in my side pocket to like PM and message and email and, or, and like our coaches like Angela too, that I can, like, I know the structures that work for me and I can be confident in what I'm doing. Right.
Right. Right.
What are you most proud of? And then I'm going to tell you what I'm most proud
Okay.
of. But I kind of touched it already.
I mean, there has been, some weight loss. So of course you're proud about that. But I think
Yep.
I was thinking about this question and I'm like, okay, what is the most proud of? I do think like just the knowledge base that I have and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, having that education can empower me to make the choices. I
Mm-hmm.
know, if I don't nutrition pair, right, for my morning meal, then the rest of the day is a slippery slope for me. Like I have learned, like if I have my,
Yep.
my oatmeal with my hemp hearts and all, and things
Yep.
like that. And I fill up my giant water bottle first thing in the morning, I know that that is a good day for me because I've already started out good. So I think just being able to, like you said, not just follow this meal plan because like everybody can do that. And I've
Yep.
tried that. And I've tried that for, weeks or months and it's worked, but it's nothing sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so it just, that education and that empowerment gives me choices. So that's kind of my like,
Yes.
kind of frou-frou kind of
The woo
uh,
woo.
emotional, accomplishments. But I
Yeah.
think the physical stuff too is that, I used to have a lot of bloating and I've
Mm-hmm.
learned that that can I can control that. I can control it.
And it took
You know?
us a while. Like, let's be honest with everybody that it wasn't like this gut solution that we did for you and develop this protocol. It took us a bit to figure it out and to figure out where your cycle was and what was
Right.
working. And for that was communication, which is
Yeah.
what, again, I talk about coachability with clients and they're needing to be a fit. You were honest with that and not like, oh, everything's fine. You're like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
Don't feel any different, Moni.
Right.
Like, right. And the journey, I think from my standpoint, we'll go back to your physical stuff here in a sec. Like, you realized that the journey wasn't just going to be like this, right?
Yeah.
And that it was like this, but Beth, you stuck to it.
Yeah.
Right? You stuck to it because we found structures that just worked in your life. And you're like, okay, this isn't a huge headache with 3 kids demanding different things at the end of the day when I get home from work. Like, right? So besides the bloating, was there anything else? Because that was a big one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that in general, like kind of along with like kind of the nutrition pairing really kind of helped my energy. You know,
Yeah.
I think in the beginning I was asking questions like I get home, like my short days are 8-hour days and I get home at 4. And my habit was I went to my pantry.
Mhm.
And I think that with talking with you and realizing like it wasn't that I was hungry, I was tired. Like I had to
Mhm.
really look within and say like what do I really need at that moment? It
Mhm.
wasn't that I needed food. I needed to go up in my room and like literally take a 10-minute power nap.
Mhm.
And then I could come down and my first instinct wasn't like, oh, I want to have a snack, you
Mhm.
know, and it was, you know, there are times when I can do that. And there are times when I can't. And there was times when I can't, but then I say, no, I have to. And I just tell my kids, I need 10
Yes.
minutes, like 10 minutes. Like,
Just
I go, yeah, yeah,
yeah. And it's that daily checkout. Like you said, your short days are 8 hours. And when
right.
you're go, 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 and to sit there and have a coach going, you need to check in with yourself. You're like, can I give you the finger now or later? Like,
I
please.
actually
It's
never
like,
felt that.
it's like, I know, but it's like telling an insomniac to take a nap. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta, my whole point is here is that we figured out just simple things and that took time, right? So that it just became a part of you. It becomes just a new sense of normal. Okay,
Right.
like I'm going to check in with myself when I get home. Am I hungry? Maybe sometimes I am, but what do I really need? Right?
Right.
On a 10
Yeah.
minute.
My commute from my work, that is the best part of my, not the best part of my day, but the easiest part of my day, it's 8 minutes. And in
Yeah.
that 8, I would find myself so sleepy, like in
Yeah.
8 minutes in a car, like that's kind of crazy. And so
Yeah.
that's when I started realizing and going, okay, you're not hungry. You're just tired and you need to reboot for 10 minutes. And that's all I ever need. I don't need to lay up there for 30 minutes or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, if somebody leaves me alone, I might spend 10 minutes on my phone just scrolling for 10 minutes.
Little
But,
Instagram creeping. Nothing
right,
wrong
just
with that.
little, just, you know,
Yeah.
and, but that has really helped because when I'm busy, I can control what, you know, do I have time to eat? Do I not have time to eat? Whatever. But you give me idle time for, 30 minutes and,
Right.
that I end up at the pantry. So that helped. Like
Yeah.
knowing what I really needed at that moment.
Mhm. And that's just part of laying the foundation that we talked about, right? And for you, the journey took a little bit, I don't want to say longer, but a little bit more back and forth to figure
Yeah.
out what's clicking in your life and in your mental and physical energy, right? What's working that you don't feel like, oh, right? So do you feel now, like we talked about, like the goal's still going on, right? We
Yes.
still want that end result, but do you feel now that this is sustainable? This is working. This feels good, right? This is a part of my day,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. I definitely do. I mean, I still, will struggle with like, oh, should I eat that? Should I not eat that? That's kind
Mhm.
of where my brain was before all this, like
Mhm.
just thinking about it too much, not like craving food, just thinking about it. Like, can I
Mhm.
eat that? Should I eat that? When should I eat? Should I do keto? Like all of those things. And I feel like that voice has really quieted down in my brain. And I think because of that, and I found, these things that work for me. Yes, I think it's completely sustainable for me And if I go on vacation, okay, it's a vacation, and I come back and I just start back where I was. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I have to reinvent the wheel, the
Right.
following.
You have strategies in your back pocket.
Right. Yeah.
Yay!
Yes.
Excited. Piece of advice. Let's wrap it up with that. Like, what piece of advice would you say if you had, Beth 1.0? I always say, like, us in this journey, it's a different version of ourselves that come out of it. It's sort of like the 2.0, So
Right.
what would you say if someone was relating to you and, like, on their feet, working hard, 3 kids, wearing all the hats? What would your biggest piece of advice be to
I mean,
them?
I think you just sometimes try it. It's very different than, following a meal plan.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder,
Yeah.
but I don't know. You just kind of have to jump in a little bit and realize too that you have to pick and choose what works for you. Like
Mhm.
certain things you give so many great options and advice and strategies. And I think it took me a while because I kind of had to figure out what was the best for me. You
Yep.
know, I bought a journal. I'm not a journaler. Like
Yeah.
I tried. It wasn't me.
Yep.
But I also really relate to like being grounded in nature. Like I
Yep.
realized that being outside is calming for me, even in the, snow. I mean, I live in a northern part of the country, and so it's cold and it's snowy. And um, so, that was my way of kind of just decompressing a little bit.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you have to do everything. I guess that's the advice.
That's amazing
Try
advice.
try things and then pick and choose what works for you.
Yeah. And that's when having support helps too, right? Because from our standpoint in the 3M and then just in our Mojo Money community, I always say it's not my job to sit here and preach and tell you what to do. Like, you're not going to learn anything from it. That's what the diet industry does. That's why it's a
Right.
billion-dollar industry, because
Right.
they set you up and then, we know what goes on from there. But it is about being there and figuring out with you what works for you and not. I'm the same with meditation, right? I'm like, I encourage meditation. I know the scientific benefits of meditation. I get it. Some people are going to embrace it. I do not. I do a modified version of meditation, right? Where it's like someone talking to me and I visualize things, and it's just different from what you're conventional. You're the same with the journaling. You're like, okay, I get the power of it, but we also know this other strategy about being in nature and
Right.
checking in with ourselves. So that's awesome advice. You're hired, my friend. You're hired. You're hired. Anyways, well, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. Right. I am
Oh,
beyond proud of you because I know that you have this good foundation now that we can just
yeah.
keep moving forward with. And yeah, you always make me laugh. So it's super, super fun. I really, really appreciate it. Go take care of your puppy now.
He's being very good laying here.
I know, right? It's like when you're feeding him under the table, you're like,
No,
shh.
she's finally asleep.
Oh,
I can't
it's
see her. Afraid to
so
look.
good. So good. Oh, okay. Amazing, Beth. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right. You too. Bye.